My uncles were all teachers. My dad was a custodian in the schools that my aunts taught at.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go with him after work, and I'd go to their classrooms, and I'd play on their chalkboards. It was in.
So this is your life.
This has been my love, my whole. Yeah, absolutely. My aunts, my uncles were principals. This is all I knew growing up, and my parents made me go to college, which I'm glad, because. Started in education. That's where my background is. I was a school teacher for 12 years. Politics started playing a huge role in my ability to educate.
Where did you grow up?
Lawton. I went to school in Elgin, but I started my teaching career in Lawton. That's where I ended my career.
Which school?
I finished at Tomlinson Middle School.
Oh,
so I started at,
So anybody that's listening knows Tomlinson doesn't exist anymore.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
We have a new school now, LRC. It's pretty cool if you know about it. I definitely encourage you to go to Lawton and check it out. They welcome outsiders to come in and view what they're doing there, so that's my little throw for them. But
shout out LRC.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I'm not mad at it.
Hey, well, education's always going to be a part of me. My whole family was in education. I started out in education. Politics started kind of playing a role in my ability to educate.
Mm-hmm.
And so about 5 years ago, I decided, you know what? I can make a little bit more money and still be a service to people.
All right.
I did have some family in the mortgage industry, and they were prospering. They were working very hard, but they were prospering. And so I thought, you know what? It's my time to do that. I grew up in Lawton. I know a lot of people. I feel very comfortable moving in this direction. So we just went with it.
That's perfect.
It is. And it's been a wild ride.
Sure.
I've met a lot of amazing people. The people that I taught with are the first ones that gave me opportunities. So that's a huge shout out to them as well.
Well, then it's a testament to you.
I hope so, and I hope they've done a good job. They refer me out to people, so that's my greatest audience. Yes, so
and because you bring new realtors in now. You're at that level, and I don't want to jump ahead.
Absolutely, exactly, and that's exactly why I took the opportunity to move over to EXP.
Okay,
it gave me that opportunity to still be in production, still sell homes, work with buyers and sellers. Of course, a lot of times my favorite buyers are first-time home buyers because I get to play that teacher role with them. And then also with EXP, I was able to bring new agents on and play that mentor, trainer, educator role again. So
you're addicted to teaching.
I am. I can't get away from it. And I said, you know what? At one point, this is how bad it was. I was having a hard time with my calendars. I couldn't find a calendar to fit Sarah. And so I literally went to the store and I got a teacher lesson plan book.
Oh my gosh. You're like, I know this.
Yes, exactly. So
your CRM is a school planning book for teachers.
It was once upon a time. Absolutely. Right. You know, of course, in all of our training, we learned to time block, and that's very prominent in education. And so anyway, in order for me to handle the crazy of our industry, in order for me to teach myself how to time block appropriately, I literally got a teacher plan book and I wrote it out that way, and it made complete sense. And I've been doing okay since then.
Hey, that's better than just juggling it.
Yeah.
I know.
One of my mentors, one of his big things that kind of has always impacted me is he'll ask you, what's the one thing that doesn't get done? And it's the one thing you don't schedule. So
Absolutely.
Fair.
Yeah, you know, so if you're not planful on that. Yeah.
I'm in. I'm writing that down.
I love it.
Little
I know.
nugget.
Right? Absolutely.
Little John Nugget.
So going back to the education a little bit, I hope you would agree, or share some of your thoughts on how important educating people in the real estate industry is, especially in our current situation. Because there's a lot of disinformation out there. There's a lot of bait and switch things that are going on with folks, and to have that background and be able to effectively communicate the process to people in a way they can understand, I imagine has served you incredibly well in this.
Now, do we have enough tape for her answer to this? Is my
I know,
question,
right?
because
that's
going to be a good one for her.
I'm going to keep it simple as
don't.
I can.
I want the long answer.
But I'm going to tell you, it's funny that we're having this conversation because we just me and a few of our other agent friends, and even my husband, he works at Halliburton. He's in the controlling aspect of that, data, money, people. And anyway, and so
that sounds miserable.
the market actually affects him as well,
Sure.
and in so many different ways. Long story short, we were just saying, depending on who you're following on TikTok,
Right.
is the information that you get about what's going on in our market, in our crazy market right now. And so we said, how do we balance that? How do we, how do I educate my buyer and my seller? Because right now a lot of people don't know what to do. We want to buy, but interest rates are high. Well, are they high? Okay. So I need to get you, and this is what I was telling one of our agents yesterday, let's not be salesy. Let's focus on individual needs.
Yep.
Let's get them with the expert, Rob. Let him explain to them.
Did everybody catch that? Did the ding? Where's the ding at,
Ding,
Matt?
ding, ding, ding. Rob.
We need it.
Let's get them with Rob and let Rob help them decide which path to take best suits their needs, because we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful with, what's important to them, cash flow every month,
Sure.
Letting go of large chunks of money, keeping large chunks of money, giving up. I mean, there's so many variables right now that now a lot of us are uncomfortable really just saying, oh no, 3 months ago, sell. Yeah, you better sell right now. If you want to sell, get rid of it, go live in an RV,
Right.
and we'll figure out what to do next in about 6 months. I'm kind
Take
of
your big chunk of money.
Absolutely.
And we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did.
Yeah.
We sold everything and we lived in an RV, an office, a
Well,
hotel.
Are you joking or are you being
No,
serious?
this is absolutely serious.
You lived in an RV.
Oh, yeah.
That's my daughter's dream.
Absolutely. We lived in like 7 different places, and I'm not kidding, in 1 full year's time, including Las Vegas, because we were so footloose and fancy.
So you're driving in the RV around and just going and seeing places, living life, just like what people talk about?
No,
Okay.
it's not that. No. We had it parked out at out by Medicine Park.
That's still not bad.
It's not bad. It was beautiful. We had a beautiful view. It's actually where I used to want to build a home. Then I realized I don't want to drive all the way out there anymore. But I got it out of my system. It was beautiful, and that's great for everybody. But anyway, so we sold everything, all of our rent houses, all of our Airbnbs. I mean, for the first time, we could make some money.
Sure.
And so I felt more comfortable talking to people about that,
Yeah.
Again, it's always going to be based on your needs, but if you've got an opportunity that you've never had before, and maybe you've been waiting for this opportunity, now's the time.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing things a little different. There are a lot of, like we talked about, variables. There's a lot of
new
unknowns.
variables.
There's
Yeah,
new
absolutely.
variables. Absolutely. And new variables every day.
Yes.
Every day. And so
Multiple times a day.
multiple times.
If you're talking about the mortgage side
Yeah,
of things.
on the lending
Absolutely.
side.
And so that's where, we were just saying that yesterday. Let's not push this on them, because we really don't know where they're at right now. And let's get them with the experts, and let's all of us sit down or over the phone or on a Zoom and talk about what direction is best for them today and maybe tomorrow. What are their financial goals, stuff like that. And so we're really moving a little bit in that direction, is just making sure that when we're talking about buying or selling, we're getting them with Rob and really making sure that this is the right decision for them.
Absolutely. So I'm curious. I know that teaching, for instance, right? I'm going to go back to that. So anybody who does that, you got to have some passion for that. And you said that you had family members that were in teaching. Is that where you picked up that want, that desire?
I think it's all I knew growing up. My aunts, my uncles were all teachers. My dad was a custodian in the schools that my aunts taught at. So I would go with him after work, and I'd go to their classrooms and I'd play on their chalkboards. It was in.
So this is your life.
Kind
This
of
has
immersed
been my
in it.
love, my whole. Yeah, absolutely. My aunts, my uncles were principals. This is all I knew growing up, and so, and my parents made me go to college, which I'm glad, because that teaching experience, I believe, prepared me for this industry in a lot of great ways. But yes, it's been ingrained in me from day one. And so when we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Well, I'm gonna be a teacher. That's all I know. I don't know anything else. So.
Do you think if you could make like any changes in your life whatsoever, and you could secretly go into this room, hit this button. There was a movie I saw. John probably knows the name. If not, we'll talk about it later. Do you think you would hit that button and do anything different? Or do you think you've actually picked the perfect career for you?
I 100%, and I've answered that question before. I would absolutely.
I thought it was an original question.
You just crushed her.
Right.
I know. Sorry, Rob.
Really thought about that.
No,
one.
because I get that all the time. Would you ever go back? Would you ever go back? Would you ever do it again? If you knew what you know now, would you start there? I would absolutely 100% make the same decision, because it has, my time in education played such a huge role in what I'm able to do now.
Sure.
Adversity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people say all the time, oh my God, that's a really stressful situation. It is, but guys, I taught 8th grade.
Yeah.
I can do anything, you know, and that sounds silly and snarky. It's not.
It sounds true.
Yeah.
It is, you know, like, there's, again, back to variables, there's so many pieces in education that are thrown at you, you know, content, we've got content, social media, technology, we deal with that every single day.
Sure.
Knowing how to talk to people, adjusting ourselves, you know, I know how to talk to parents, I know how to talk to administration, I know how to adjust myself with different children. And so in this world, even though I'm mostly dealing with adults, I find that
mostly.
I find that my time in education helped me prepare for that in this, and I think that's probably where most of my success comes from, is being able to adjust myself in my audience.
And I would assume the patience that you learned as a teacher
Absolutely.
is massive in your real estate career.
I think sometimes I'm almost, I don't want to say too passive, but when other people are like, no, this is no, I'm like, just, it's going to work itself out.
Sure.
You know, we're troubleshooters.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to figure this out one way or the other. We're going to figure this out.
So we need to get on a call, you and I, once a week, so you can learn how to get me from being emotionally involved in everything that happens, because you can get too involved and emotionally react. And I see a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're able to kind of channel some inner peace that where you don't, then that would make, and this is just my thoughts off the top of the head, would and do make you a really good mentor to anybody that's coming into the real estate world.
Gentleman, in fact, another realtor, a seasoned realtor in Lawton, said this to another agent, and this agent said this to me one day: everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be taken care of. We have to be troubleshooters in this industry. We have to look at all angles. We have to be reflective and not reactive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been one of my things that I tell my nieces and my nephews, be reflective and not reactive. And it's hard sometimes.
Sure.
For sure.
It's easy for me to sit here and say that. I have to preach that to myself over and over and over, because I get emotional too.
Do you have a process?
I just say reflect, don't react.
Like a little woosah 10-second rule?
No, not too much. I just tell myself that over and over. But I think I tell enough people that myself. Like other people.
You're hearing it a lot.
So I hear myself saying it. I think it's become habitual. So I think that's probably maybe my superpower, if there was such a thing. Okay, let's work this out. And another gentleman, another brokerage that I worked with, I mean, that was very much for him too. Mm-hmm. He said, slow down, take a breath. We're going to figure this out. If there's a way to figure it out, we will figure it out.
Yeah.
That's our job. Let's do it. And so I think that has been really great advice for me.
So you've taken to this whole leadership role, like, very well.
Thank you. I've tried very hard.
That's a good filtering process. Like I kind of go through the process of, or the mantra of, you're not responsible for your first thought, but you are for your second thought and your first action.
Absolutely.
So when you get that information, because the home buying process is such an emotional process, and you can rise and fall with those emotions with your client, but at the end of the day, you're the professional. So you have to ground yourself in what you know. And if you know this business and you know how to help them navigate that, then that's really going to get you, especially through the storms that we're going through right now.
And knowing the right people, knowing the right resources, knowing the people that are just as willing to help you troubleshoot and and not write things off. And that's been very important. And when we're bringing new agents on, I want them working with the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it to me, working at EXP, that's special. I feel like that's a special thing.
Sure.
And I think you're very special being able to work with EXP. And so to me, all of us play a huge role in EXP's success. And so I want the people around me at EXP surrounded by the best as well.
You know,
that's important to me.
I completely agree, but I think that you would be somebody who would be doing that despite the company name. Like, that's who you are.
You're absolutely right. For sure. You're 100%.
That's my impression of you from what I know.
Absolutely.
Bring everybody. There's always going to be, there's the people, you know, leader, follower, whatever.
Sure.
And so I've always seen you kind of people kind of aspire to get to your level, which is awesome. It's a great trait to have.
Sure.
For sure.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I've been. If we brought people on, I introduce them to the greatest possible resources I can.
Mm-hmm.
But it does, I feel like we're kind of representing something as a whole. It's important to keep that representation at the top.
So if I said, hey, give me the 5 bullet points, because it's easy to tell that you are passionate about obviously your work, your business, and everything else, but also where you work. Mm-hmm. If you could give me let's say it's 5 bullet points fair, give me the 5 reasons why, if I'm listening, I might be picking up the phone, calling Sarah and saying, tell me a little bit more about EXP. Or 3, whatever.
Probably 3, because I talk a lot and I get fired up about this because it has it's changed my life.
We got 4 hours left. Go.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So number 1, I loved obviously my ability to be able to produce and mentor. I love that. There's nothing more exciting to me than having equally excited agents want to have the same opportunities that I've had.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, no matter where I'm at, I'm always going to take those opportunities. So at least where I'm at now with EXP and bringing new people on, I get to share that with people. And so just the teacher aspect of it and getting to mentor and train, that's number 1. Sure. We've already kind of beat that to death a little bit. But number 2,
I think
it's
to me
important.
It would be a big one.
It is. It's huge.
That's why it's number 1.
That's exactly right.
There you go.
Number 2 is community over competition.
Okay.
That was an adjustment for me moving from education to real estate. I was at amazing places. The very first brokerage that I was at was it was a kind of a boutique, and they were very community over competition.
That's the office where every single thing you owned was pink.
That's exactly right.
Keep going. Keep going.
Just like my classroom.
That's right.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. It was. And I'm not going to lie, I still have pink in my home office. Oh, not supposed to say that. But anyway. So the community over competition mindset. And
what does that mean to you? What does that phrase mean to you?
So networking, collaborating, taking care of each other.
Same industries.
Absolutely. Right. Growing each other. But that, I think that since I've been here, that has absolutely expanded beyond realtors too. You know what I mean? But because we have that mentality, and there's so many of us that truly believe in that, and the ones that have been with EXP for a long period of time feel that. They have that. Typically, they all have that as something that's very important to them. They're the ones that are working with others not really outside of the industry, the lending side, the insurance side, the contractor side, whatever. We're all working together to take care of each other, to push each other, to make each other better. And I loved that. That was huge for me. And one of the places that I was at, you didn't get that feel. You were on your own. They didn't want to tell you anything. They didn't want to tell you what kind of marketing systems they were using. I mean, everything was hush, hush.
Yeah.
And I was just not used to that. And so when I moved to EXP and I'm sitting and I'm talking to William Mahan, who is my sponsor, and he's telling me all these things, I thought, you know what? Okay, I've heard this spill. I've heard this. I've heard it. And I went home and I told my husband, and he's like, well, we've heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So about a week later, William calls me up and he's like, hey, we're going to do this lunch and learn up here in Oklahoma City. We'd love to have you. And I said, okay, sounds good. So I came on up and he did. I mean, it was really cool. It was this little mastermind. He did some training. He explained EXP. We all stayed. We talked. We collaborated. I was like, this is cool, but okay, whatever. Okay. Well, a couple weeks later, he's calling me again. He's like, hey, come on up. We're doing another one. And he's like, this time we're going to be learning da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Okay. So the same crew came, plus some new ones. Same thing. Learned stuff that I had absolutely no idea about. I mean, like
you knew stuff you didn't know you didn't know.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, like I've heard of this, but no one's ever told me how to do it. Like, this is wild. Okay. So I go home, I tell my husband. He's like, okay, whatever. You know, okay. They're putting on a show.
Yeah, that's
you know,
lip service.
Absolutely.
Once you sign that dotted line, it all disappears.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The lunch and learns go away.
And now I said, well, honey, there's like 30 people there. Like, he's not doing that for Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm not special. Like, no. I was like, I think this is legit. So for a whole month, well, no, 3 months, I went back and forth up here to Oklahoma City, just checking it out. They invited me to everything. Finally, New Year's, or right around New Year's, Micah and Hamoudi Murat, who is William's sponsor, they invited us to their home, and they had a nice deal. My husband and I came up, and he saw it, but he was most impressed with the conversations that people were having. Mm-hmm. They were educated, business, not it wasn't all business. It was a very relaxed atmosphere and fun, but at the same time we were just having business related conversations, and he loved that. He loved
like business, meaning like things that like improvement of other people type conversations.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. How to run your own business, you know, entrepreneurship, like not just being self-employed and going out and selling some houses. These people are investors. These people have CEOs and COOs of their real estate companies. And they were talking data. And of course, that's not me, that's my husband. But so anyway, long story short, I kind of made it long. That was him saying, okay, I think this is okay. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, and of course, commission was fine. It was a little bit better. I was already making, but that was not the main thing.
Didn't hurt.
It sure didn't hurt.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what I mean, community over competition. Man, they are all about growing each other. They're about not just your production, but just you as a human. A lot of my friends are like, oh my God, you're one of those self-help people. And I'm like, you know what? I am. That's fine. I don't care if I make you feel better about yourself and your life, and if I motivate you or somebody in our group motivates you. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what is wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
You know, I get that at some point, for some people, it can feel a little preachy, you know,
absolutely.
Depending on how the message is delivered.
Sure, absolutely.
But no, I mean, that's important. And from a business standpoint, you know, we're seeing this with the Great Resignation, all these people leaving their companies. And I think a lot of people have just been going because of a paycheck.
Sure.
But now they're realizing that, you know, now that there's competition in the marketplace for these jobs, that culture matters.
Culture, absolutely.
And the more well-rounded that you can be as a person, and then you can mitigate all of the other distractions. Right. So, you know, that come from being at home and your personal life and those sorts of things. So when you have that, you know, I know it's a cliche, that work-life balance, but that's what keeps you coming back every day. I mean, you can, you know, as you go through the peaks and valleys of especially this world, if you don't have those kind of fundamentals to fall back on, then, you know, this can be a really challenging gig for a lot of people.
It is. And you need that right now, that support system, that community, because I mean, we're bouncing things off of each other all the time.
Sure.
In fact, that's what we were talking to Kathy today about, our broker. I mean, we met with her and we said, you know what? Thank goodness for each other, especially newer agents. I mean, they'd be blown away, you know, if they didn't have this community type culture.
You know, learn from your elders. But I think it's important because in your group, and this is going to sound like a weird thing to say, but I don't really care. So
okay. Go ahead.
I know everybody that's in your group,
sure.
right? And I've seen other groups in different companies, and I think it's important is, yes, you want to have somebody that's been around, has some wisdom and seen some scenarios and some experience, but not somebody who's been around so long that they're set in their ways and this is how it is. I've kind of gotten the idea, like when I am around your group and people like that, is we know a lot, but we don't know everything.
We don't know everything. We had that conversation today too. It's so easy for some that have been in the industry a long time, when things didn't change for long periods of time, we sometimes assume that it's still this way. Well, we're not the expert on that.
Let me ask you this. As far as, you know, like I said, real estate, that's fun. If we're talking about you in particular, who would you say is like the most influential person in your life?
Probably William Mahan, my sponsor, at least in education. In real estate, in this industry. He has taken a lot of time in his world to take care of us and mentor us and lead us in the right directions. And that's something very important that he has passed on to all of us, is making sure that, you know, we know the best practices, we know the right people. But he's also taught us how to take it, think outside the box.
Sure.
He's really big into that. When I got into real estate, all I saw was working with buyers and working with sellers. And I looked at it as, I wasn't necessarily an employee, because we're not employees.
Right.
But I kind of felt like I was. I was working for somebody else. And when I met him, he said, you know, let's play with some business plans. Let me share with you my business plan. And I was blown away at how creative his structure was, and his structure has evolved, but his ability to reflect on what works and what doesn't work, give things opportunities to try to work, you know, and back to troubleshooting, back to all those things, but creating your own business. So now it's hard for me to see other realtors playing the realtor role, because I feel like you're an employee and I'm a business owner.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And I don't think I'm really doing a good job of explaining that.
I think you're doing a better job than you think.
Because there's so many more aspects to it other than just buying and selling, which is great. That's wonderful. But he just took it to that next level of, let me show you what we can do. Let me show the opportunities. And it's not an EXP thing. It's a real estate thing, you know? And so how investing plays a role in what we do every single day, and our connections that we have play in every single day. And it's just, you know, the people we have working for us, and leveraging is huge, you know, and money-making activities like we were talking about.
Absolutely.
You know, what are those money-making activities? Is it killing yourself every single day buying a bunch of leads? I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying, I don't want to do that every day.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't want to be self-employed, and I don't want to be an employee. Okay. I don't want that. And so if that's what I'm doing every single day, killing myself, I'm not growing. There's no financial freedom, time freedom. That's what I want. That's what we all want. I think most of us do. We want that growth opportunity. And so we want to be able to leverage some of those things out and still have financial and time freedom. And I think he showed that to me. He showed me that was an opportunity in real estate.
As always, thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe, follow us on social media, and we look forward to seeing you again next week for another episode.